Hello, my astrology friends and family. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, here with the much expected interview with Sidereal astrology master astrologer Trifon Nikolov, who will talk to us about the current month with some interesting predictions, and also speaking about the death of the Queen, which he predicted, by the way, in a video in December 2021 for this year, and what is coming ahead. And before we start, I want to say that Trifon again is offering a really good discount. I think 30-40%, I'm not sure how much, check the link below, to his reading for relationships, because Venus is also setting this month, and when Venus becomes invisible, big shifts and changes tend to happen in relationships. So he decided to make a discount if you want a personal reading with him, particularly about relationship and compatibility or love, even if you're single, when you meet love and so on. He's reading. Hello, Trifon.
Hello, everybody.
You again amazed us with the correct prediction about the Queen passing. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, I made this prediction back in the end of the last year. Why it was in that time? I said that this is quite probable to happen because there was a lunar eclipse in Taurus. However, the eclipse took place in the exact degree of the exaltation of the moon, and this is in the sidereal plane, however, in sidereal astrology. But it was very clear sign, because why this is important for the Queen? Because in astrology, the sun is the planet that represents the king. But the moon is the planet that represents the Queen. And the moon is exalted exactly in the 3rd degree of Taurus.
Sidereal.
Yes. In each system, it is considered to be like this. But this eclipse happened exactly in the 3rd degree of Taurus in sidereal signs. And this is also the way of the ancients to look at it. And so because of this, I was very sure that this is a sign for a very, very prominent kingly female figure, most probably the English Queen.
But it happened, what, like 9 months later?
Yes. Why it's happening now? There are two triggers. First, it's of course a really sad event and very meaningful for the entire world, because she was a figure like no other. So I guess people in general are grieving, even those that are not in the Anglo-Saxon world. They're also very much noticing the importance of the Queen. So her passing were triggered by the transit of Mars. Why is that? Mars in 11th of August entered Taurus. By his presence, he activated actually the malefic nature, the malefic meaning of the eclipse that happened earlier. And exactly, there are also 2 other astrological events at the time of her passing. First, Mars made exact conjunction with a star that is called a royal star. So now, which is this royal star? The ancients are claiming that there are 4 royal stars. They are called the royal stars of Persia, the ancient empire in the Near East. And one of them is the main star of Taurus. The name of this star is Aldebaran. And also, let's notice that Taurus is a female sign in astrology. Mars made a conjunction with the royal star exactly at this time. However, there is even one more very fateful astrological event that happened immediately. So literally on the next day, after her passing, but you can accept it that it's a transition that's happening in the same day when she passed. The head of the dragon, what we call the North Node, entered in its retrograde movement, entered the so-called royal degree, the 19th degree of Aries, which means 18 degrees and some minutes in Aries. And this is in Sidereal. And this is exactly the degree which in astrology is considered to be the degree of the exaltation of the sun, and also called the royal degree. If you remember last year, I predicted that some princes may have problems very soon. This was for the video for April 2021. And
2022, 2021.
In 2021, I'm talking about the last year, because in that time there was, I mean, even it was literally the same day, Mercury, the planet of princes, was making a conjunction with Venus in this same royal degree. However, my predictions about troubles instead of some good things, because Venus is usually a beneficial planet, came because Venus in Aries is actually a debilitated planet, which can bring only trouble actually there. So there was like very clear logic behind everything, purely astrological, and it is based on sidereal signs. However, if you try it in tropical signs, okay, I think that there will be no result. But in sidereal, it's very obvious that it's working literally as in the school books of astrology. So this is how it goes. Three things: Mars with the royal star, the North Node, which is considered to be a malefic influence, entered the royal degree, and the activation of the eclipse that shows loss of a queen. So those three things happened now. So this is the explanation. Of course, there must be more things, but this is what is at least more obvious right now from the point of view of mundane astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, of course, this shows great transition for England and the world. You may have noticed that also in these days there are other similar events, like Mikhail Gorbachev, previous ruler of USSR, also passed close to this time.
Yeah.
And there are also others. I will just not mention them right now, but there are also others, and which actually made me think that this influence that's happening now with all those positions is so universal that actually not only one, but at least several rulers can happen to meet even their end.
Mm.
And I was thinking even about the ongoing events in the former Soviet republics right now, because such type of events can bring about the fall of a ruler. I mean, the war in Ukraine, of course.
Sorry.
So this is one thing. Let's see what else is also happening. In the last months and years, you know that I made the predictions about coming time that is again like the Cold War in the 60s. This already happened. I made a prediction about problems with potentially nuclear accidents.
It's happening right now.
This almost happened like several times.
They're still shooting. The Ukrainians are still shooting at the nuclear. I don't know which, because it's in Russia's power and the Ukrainians are shooting at it. So let's hope nothing happens.
There's a nuclear plant called Zaporozhye. It is the biggest in Europe, and is under attack, and so on. Also in US, they closed one nuclear plant in the last weeks without much explanation, but this power plant, which is called 3 Mile Island, she was related to 1979 nuclear accident. So now it was closed, which also only makes me to raise my eyes. So, okay, something is happening. This topic is still active, and we have to just, I guess, just pray, nothing more happen. Because we are still in this period when such problems and accidents can happen. Remember, this is almost till the end of the December, this time, when such things still can happen. So we're still not out of this period.
I was really surprised when you said a couple of years ago that something like a Cold War or nuclear issues. And I was like, come on, that's all 1960s. And then look at us back at.
How can the 60s come back, right?
What was it that you said about the third year after the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter that might happen?
The 30.
Because it will be the third year now from December 21st onwards.
Yeah, we will discuss this about the prediction for the next year. So let's hold it for now. But there are some good things there, folks. There are some really good things also there. At least there is no prediction of nuclear accidents. Still, this is valid, however. But there will be very interesting things, and especially about the development of society itself. This will be the most important for the next year. So now there are two important things that are happening exactly this month in the sky. What I mean is first the condition of Mercury, the so famous Mercury Retrograde. This is already happening. Of course, you all know what retrograde Mercury can mean, in the sense that it can slow down communication. It can make you go back to unfinished work, because it is in the sign of work in Sidereal, it is in Virgo, and so on. However, the ancients are saying that while Mercury is in such condition in this sign, in Virgo, it arouses a lot of civil unrest, they say. So when Mercury entered this position a couple of days ago, there was a huge protests in Europe, in the Czech Republic. I think 200,000 people.
Yeah, very big, 200.
Yes.
Something like that, from 100 to 200 is what they say.
Yes, so we are still in this moment, and especially towards the end of the month again, we can expect to have such big mass protests. Of course, not only in the Czech Republic, but they can happen in many other places. So this month is marked by the sky for civil unrest, actually. Mercury in Virgo, this, I guess, of course, arouses the minds of common people about how they deal with their daily life and routine, with their work, with the bills that they pay. All this relates very well to the sign Virgo, which is a sign of work and debt also. So Mercury, as a planet of humans and humanity, makes people very concerned about it, which obviously is related to civil unrest in the time ahead for the month. So this is happening end of this month and also in the beginning of the next month, in the first couple days. Of course, There is also something additional when in the beginning of the next month, Mercury is ready to become direct planet. It will be already actually in the last degree of Leo in the Sidereal scheme of things. And the ancients are saying something interesting. They are saying this makes some troubles for the king. Okay, we will see. We can see now a succession from a queen to a king. So someone who is like a king at least, or really a king, will have more problems in that time. They're not saying something more, just troubles. The exact word used is anomalous, related to the king. Interesting expression. We'll see what it means. So, of course, if you want to start new projects, especially for some modern digital world and anything intellectual or related to trade, it's better to wait Mercury to become stronger in Virgo, and this is next month. Right now, he's retrograde. He will make all people to prepare to finish the unfinished business. Okay, I think so much about Mercury. What else is happening this month? So for many of you, this can be even more important because we are in the end of the cycle of Venus, which means that Venus is about to disappear, to become invisible. She disappears literally on the last day of September or the first day of October. It depends where you are in the world. If you are closer, more to the south, it's earlier. And the opposite if you are to the north. Now, when Venus finishes its cycle, she will finish the cycle in Virgo, like disappearing, being in this sign in the 7th degree, by the way. And Virgo is a sign of debilitation of Venus. So this time the falling of Venus out of sight is more detrimental than in other cycles, I think. It means that people who are ruled by Venus will have more problems, but it's not only about them. So to remind you, people who are ruled by Venus, these are mostly those who have their ascendant ruled by Venus. So in sidereal signs, this is Taurus and Libra, but in the signs that are called tropical, this is Gemini and Scorpio. So the ancients are saying, by the way, relatively good things about Venus making such movements in Virgo. They say everything will be okay. In short, they're not mentioning something specific, but this does not mean that it will not happen. So my opinion, for instance, is that because she disappears in Virgo, people have to be more careful for their health condition in general, because the sign of the disappearance is Virgo, which is in general a sign of being effective and a sign of health condition. So this is, of course, mostly for those who are ruled by Venus in the first place. Also, definitely because this is a sign of Mercury, and even the first degrees where she disappears are ruled by Mercury even more strongly than the others. And Venus represents women, so I think that a woman that is achiever in the intellectual field, probably, maybe a writer or a scientist, we may see such a woman also going away. And this, of course, will be a sign of her high quality to be related to such position of Venus.
Could be someone in the health department, woman that goes down in her career.
Yes, yes. This will apply actually to many people, but we're talking about those that are famous ones. Right. Because this appearance of Venus will show the not so good condition of a lot of people, actually. So when Venus disappears in Virgo, of course, most of all what concerns people is love. Let's talk about that. Venus will be weak, debilitated in Virgo, and also she will become invisible, which is maximum problems related to love. In general, people will have, and the entire world will have more dissatisfaction about relationships, more doubts, of course, much more finishing of relationships than starting new. And because the sign is Virgo, it somehow can be even worse than that. Maybe this will be like very barren period in things related to love. It is when Venus is in Virgo, she can be good only about work and health, but because she is disappearing, it can be problematic even for this. So, of course, when you hear about all this, remember that Venus is not the only planet in the sky, okay? There is the Sun, the Moon, and the others, which are all giving different influences. So, this is not like so disastrous, probably, as it sounds. Okay? So, but in general, people will definitely experience more psychological problems. Venus will be invisible for 2 months till the beginning of December. We'll be talking later what is coming next with her new cycle. But in the time when she is invisible, the ancients they have wrote down to us a legend which is designed to show what is happening when Venus is invisible. So all of you, if you're interested, you can read the legend about Ishtar, which is the ancient Mesopotamian name of Venus. So in short, in the legend, when she goes in the underworld, which is her invisibility, and on each step towards the gates of the main event there that she faces, she loses either her garment or her robe, and so on. So she loses everything until finally she is naked and even tortured by her sister, who is the ruler of the underworld. And in the meantime, in the world, everything stopped. Tree and grass stopped to grow. There is no bliss at all, no joy, nothing good and pleasant,
Till December.
Until she is like this. So the gods revolted against her being imprisoned, and they demanded her release. Only when she came back, then the world also returned to his true and positive nature in many ways. So imagine what is there. Venus invisible. Of course, this is a transitional time. This transitional time of Venus shows the end of one big cycle, which is also a psychological process. Our preparation on inner level for new things related to love and friendship. our own realization of certain psychological issues in the meantime, which can be difficult. And there is a contact of Venus with the Sun in the process while she is invisible, which is equal to accepting a new spiritual quest program for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's a finishing everything out, turning towards new direction, and in one moment starting to walk towards this direction, beginning the new cycle.
So it would be good for people to check what Taurus and Libra rules in their horoscope, what house it is from the Ascendant, so they can see what will be coming to a conclusion of a cycle and the start of a new one somewhere in the start of the winter, I guess. But I was thinking, when Venus disappears, Venus is diplomacy, and there's no option for the war to during that time to end and some kind of an agreement to be signed.
Yes, this is not good sign for peace, of course not. Venus invisible is actually bad because it can mean more sadness, it can mean more cruelty, let's say it. It can mean more dangers for women in general in this time. That's so.
There's something interesting that Rumanen, he's both of our teacher, was talking about what the ancient Babylonians were saying about Venus close to the sun when she's invisible, that it gives occult powers, because, you know, sometimes in your books it says it makes nymphomaniacs as well. What kind of relations would be more allowed, or let's say more with
Okay. We're already in this time about these relations because Venus is now forming a square in the heavens with Mars. So she's afflicted. The time of the exact square of Venus is 16th of September. So from my point of view, Venus is already damaged. She's heading towards the bad aspect with Mars. And any bad aspect of Venus with Mars is related to going to extremes related to Venus, and this means sexual love into extremes, you know, all the bad things, cheating and so on. A lot of and difficult to control also sexual energy out there. So it's much more probable now that there will be such things happening in this month than in others. Later, when Venus disappears, now the invisible Venus, she also means that there is again much more probability of secret actions in the matters related to Venus. The invisibility of Venus means also presence of secrets, things that are being done in an invisible way, in other words. And you can easily see what I mean, of course. So there can be much more secret affairs, cheating, and the like happening. This is the bad side. The good side, as you already know, is to abstain from anything related to love and relationships in this time. Many people will go under a period that they just don't have any love or relationship, and they will just have a transitional time. This time is mainly related to spiritual preparation, finishing the last cycle, acquiring information for the new one, goals for the future, and starting later the new cycle. So it's mostly actually a spiritual process. So, and depends, of course, how it will happen. It depends on who you are, what you want to do. Of course, those who want to cheat and have secret affairs, they will use this time. This will happen somehow naturally. Others will just realize that they have issues in their relationships. They will have to accept them. They will have to think about them, contemplate and reflect and meditate on all this. They will just have to go through the process for those things, and they can have, of course, different decisions. But having in mind what will do Venus later, I think there will be much changes. There is definitely more accent on the destructive and transformational side of the cycle of Venus here. So I guess many people will face more problems in relationships than usual. So this was the reason to think which reading to be today. And as a promotional reading, it's about love, because exactly a very complex time is coming about this. Or actually for everybody, even those people who will be able to have 40, 50 years of marriage together, they are also afflicted. When Venus is invisible, everyone will see some issues that he has to resolve.
What about those that are born with an invisible Venus already?
Well, those that are with the invisible Venus, they will just feel in their own, waters. So nothing new for them. Nothing new for them. They're like that. They're most of their lives. By the way, if you are born with invisible Venus, it does not mean that your entire life she's invisible, because very much depends on what part of the cycle you're born and how many years. So this is converted from the cycles of the day of your birth to astrological years of your astrological cycles of your astrological chart. So, but I mean, such people suddenly can rise in love when Venus becomes visible personally for them. This is calculated. It was not possible a couple of years ago, but now it's possible due to the work of Roman Koloff. He was able to calculate all these special cycles. And so, however, now we are using those cycles, and we can say when someone's Venus will be one day visible, even if he is born with invisible Venus. Of course, many of you people who are out there dealing with regular type of astrology, you even don't know whether your Venus is invisible or not, but you can see it in your lives by, I mean, the amount of love present or not. And but I have seen amazing things when people who are born with invisible Venus, and after going through many, many years of loneliness, like literally no one, when Venus rises, in that same year, they have the big love, for instance. So it's also a personal cycle, which means that people who are born now will have this invisible Venus in those days. And as much earlier in the cycle they are born, much more years they will have invisible Venus in their life later, and so on, and so on. So this is extremely important, of course. So Venus is starting to, so to say, to decline in her qualities, and this is happening right now. The more troubles, more problems are starting. And Venus is love, not only about personal relationships. Venus is also the love of friendship. And in general, she's much related to the universal feeling about love, which can make people, how they are related even to this, even in their family circumstances or in general in their lives. So it has many, many dimensions. So we just have to endure this time. Remember this. So also, I remember.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Just like one astrologer to another. If you could choose which one to have, invisible Venus or Venus square Saturn, which one would you choose to be born? Or someone is asking you for advice for when to give birth.
Wow, this is such a. It's really impossible to choose here. If it is exact square of Saturn, this is really really not easy. And it shows a lot of karma, by the way. Such people who have Venus and Saturn in a square, they made mistakes in past lives about love, and mostly because of this, they are punished in this present life with a lot of troubles in love, especially in the first 36 years of their lives, but sometimes not only. So it depends. If you have this square, it means that you have to deal with some consequences. So some situations of the invisible Venus, I guess, are, especially towards the end of the cycle, are better than the square of Saturn. Okay, let's say it like this.
Better be single than have your heart broken all the time, basically.
Yes, you can call it like this also, definitely. So not so much love there, not so much compassion in October and November. This is the time when she is invisible. And also, of course, you have to look about the houses that she rules in your chart, and there can be some lack of effectiveness, lack of good things happening. So this is different for everybody, and of course, you can find it if you have an astrological culture, or just having a reading, I guess. So there is no enough words to describe what Venus is there, but I will tell you some interesting story that I know. By the way, I think, again, Rumen told me this before. So, like, that he told me that he heard on the radio that the Brahmins in India are saying, from now on, you can have weddings. He started to think, why is that? And then he realized that Venus has just become visible. And for the time when she was invisible, the Brahmins, those priests who hold some secret knowledge, including about astrology in India, they have forbidden any weddings. So, okay, do not marry October, let's say even from now, from this moment, till the middle of December, until Venus becomes more stable.
No love, no marriage, no sex.
Sorry. Become a monk for 2 months. Or if you start a relationship now when Venus is invisible, okay, let's warn you. Why is this? Just you will be not satisfied so much by the quality of what is going on in the relationship, most probably. Or there is higher probability of the partner having different kind of issues, including health issues, and probability of losing him in one moment, or many other things. But most of all, the invisible Venus means secrets, cheating, affairs, and you don't want such quality in a relationship. So that's why this time is not good for beginning new relationships, but it's good for ending the old ones. That's it. Simply put. Those who need a new phase in their lives regarding this will definitely happen to them in this period. That's it. Embrace the change, everybody, as much as you can bear it, but it's no matter, it's happening. Venus will be setting. She will be felt setting from the 25th of September, much more strongly. The last couple of days, she's already becoming weaker and weaker until she finally disappears 1st of October. So, what else? Recently, I found an ancient text that is well known, actually. I just took a look to the text. It's right close to my hand. However, it claims that the lands of, I'm not sure how it is pronounced in English, Skytia, maybe, Scythia, so the land of the Scyths from the ancient times. So this is including what is today Ukraine. So the ancient text is stating that these lands are ruled by Taurus. The sign Taurus, okay? I can relate Ukraine to Taurus. It's a sign of Venus. Some of the most beautiful women in the world are living in Ukraine. So we can see some Venus influence there. And the events that are going on now, we can relate the presence of Mars for the next 7 months till the beginning of the spring. Also with the land of Ukraine, because she's Taurus, according to the ancients. Mars is there 7 months. Okay, we can predict that there will be much more fighting, hostilities, but also strength, more strength for Ukraine. And this is literally what is happening since Mars is in Taurus.
But Venus that rules it is disappearing.
Yes, but for 2 months. But you're right. This also will have some impact. Yes, that's true.
This war better stop, because I don't know how people will survive soon in Europe. I don't know about the States, but prices are just, the prices of electricity now will be 3 times the salary for a month. Per month in Bulgaria, the price of electricity will be 3 times the normal average salary for 3-bedroom house. It's ridiculous.
Yes, this is hitting everybody in different ways, and especially the big fears of nuclear escalation, they remain. That's true. So as much more Mars is intensifying the situation.
Well, no, but like Ukraine has to give up, because the war will carry on if they keep sending guns and guns and guns. I'm just so infuriated at all the Western countries sending them guns all the time, because they're keeping up this war going on forever. I mean, it looks to me like a deliberate way to make the whole Western world super poor, and the business class and the middle class to be destroyed fully. That's what it's used for. Sorry, I get so irritated with what's happening.
Well, I was contemplating on this matter. So what to say? So it's probably the same as for America itself. And in the end of the 18th century, she received a lot of help from France, for instance, with guns and troops and so on, in her civil war with Imperial England. And this is also looked like a civil war, because on both sides there were people who were speaking the same language as in the case of Ukraine and Russia. But finally, the most important thing that those people fought for is also the same as it's happening today. Americans fought for their freedom and civil rights, and so are the Ukrainians. So that's why we all must respect their desire for freedom and independence, no matter the cost, because after all, this is the most important thing in human's life. And yes, that's why they receive the help. And you're right, the situation is becoming more dangerous.
There's way darker motives than that. I mean,
there can be all kinds of motives.
So many countries are fighting for freedom and they're not helping them. There is a way, it's like the weakening of the whole. You're going to see businesses, whatever COVID didn't close, now probably 50% of businesses, they started closing down. They're not going to be able to pay their bills.
So this can be related, but this can happen in a war. This can happen. The most important thing is the fight for freedom, after all. So anything else, everybody, depends on their own nature, will try to use the situation, of course. This is potentially also happening. But so there are, as in any war, many things going on simultaneously. So after all, Mars now shows greater, more intense level of fighting, more strength for Ukraine ahead, but everything will depend also on the condition of Mars and Venus, as you're saying. So we will see. We'll comment more about this, I guess, for the next months, checking the condition of those planets. Right now, when there was a counteroffensive in Ukraine, I noticed, and they have some success, I noticed that Mars is actually in conjunction with the royal star in Taurus, the main star of their sign, obviously, Taurus. And this star, Aldebaran, is said to have the nature of Mars and Venus. So Mars making a conjunction with Aldebaran is actually from a military point of view, strong position for them. So in this position, we will repeat later. Repeat later in certain moments in the next 7 months. We will see about that. Okay, so otherwise, in general, especially after 17th of September, the sun will be already in Virgo. The sun enters Virgo. And of course, this is mostly, by the way, good, because the sun will go into good relation to Mars and Saturn. They will form trine in the sky for the next 30 days after that, which is in general good for the people in power, but also is good in general for the world, as Virgo is a sign of the common man also. And being free from affliction from the energies of Mars and Saturn actually foretells for most of the things, except for those related to Venus, good outcome and good development. So in many ways, this time will be also a good one ahead for at least some days. It cannot be always, you know, because the complications that are happening due to different celestial combinations, this is ever-changing matter. But it's a general influence for good times. So I guess from what you heard today, I think you need to, all of you, to enjoy more your life as much as possible this year, this month, until the 25th of September. Because after that, Venus is setting. No joy, no pleasure. So use the still present energy of Venus, because now Venus, one of the aspects of her finishing her cycle is that she can give some good results related to her, like achievements related to Venus. But this is while she is still visible. So right now you can have also some achievements, some of you, of course. And not on the 16th September. 16th September is out of this topic, where between Venus and Mars.
Yeah, stay out of sight. Watch out for angry women. I'm feeling it already.
For instance.
Sorry, guys, if I was too strong, because I anything mainstream media says, I don't believe it. So I argue with Trifon, but I really respect your opinion. I do believe people should fight for freedom, and I believe that all the people in the world should fight for their freedom. What's happening in the world now is take over our freedoms, and you should know it. So be ready to fight for whatever is happening. Thank you so much. And if you want to contact Trifon, you can click on the link below in the description. There is a link to his discounted reading, which is 1 hour for a relationship, love. You can talk any topic about that, and he uses amazing methods to see it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And God bless you all, and may we enjoy September.